Did you know that it's possible to get an interest rate on a mortgage in the fours in 2025? Well, not a lot of people think it is. And most people, a lot of buyers I'm talking to are waiting for rates to get into the fives or maybe even the fours before buying a home. And I'm going to show you a real strategy that we're helping our clients out with right now and working alongside with great real estate agents to help negotiate in this buyer's market right now to get buyers' interest rates in the fours, in the fives. I'm going to show you a real strategy that we've used with a real client to help them get their rate in the fours today. So let's dive right in and go through this. This is a stat from Redfin. Right now, 2 in 5 home sellers are giving concessions to buyers. And if we actually look at this, 44% in 2025. So 44% of sellers are giving credits to buyers off of their closing costs. And the reason I'm showing this stat is because it's showing that it's more of a buyer's market. Buyers are in control, and smart buyers right now that are obtaining financing are actually using it to help get credits off of their closing costs in order to do some creative interest rate strategies. And overall, this helps them get a lower rate, lower monthly payments, and helps with affordability. And so I'm going to share with you the maximum seller credits by loan type that you can negotiate depending on your down payment structure and the mortgage type that you take out. So let's go through conventional mortgages first. So if we do a primary residence or second home, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the largest mortgage lenders in America, will allow different types of seller credits depending on the down payment percentage. So if we're talking about a primary residence, for example, 3% down is the minimum for first-time home buyers, but anywhere from 3 to 10% down, we're looking at a 3% max seller credit based off the sales price. All right. So for example, an $800,000 home, $24,000 of a credit would be the max. If we go to 10% down to 25% down or 24.99% down, it would be 6% max. Okay, so let's say a $500,000 home, 6%, that's 30 grand. If you go to 25% down, don't really ever see this, but you can get up to 9% max in seller credits. Let's keep going. Investment properties unconventional. So if you're buying as an investor, you can still get credits, but they're going to limit it to about 2% as a max. You can only get up to 2% max on a conventional investment property purchase. Okay, so that's conventional. Let's go over to FHA, another common loan program in America. On FHA, more of a primary residence product, your minimum down payment starts at 3.5%. The max seller credit is a little bit more lenient. You can go all the way to 6% in seller credits on FHA financing, even at a low 3.5% down payment. VAs for veteran home loans, you can go up to 4%, right, for a primary residence, but 0% down, and you can get the 4% seller credits on the sales price that you can use towards paying for closing costs, prepaids, or again, using it for interest rate creativity to lower your rate. Jumbo or non-QM or non-qualified mortgages, these are more lender specific. Down payments start in the 10 to 20% down range. Ultimately, they're going to usually follow the conventional rules on the left, but speak to your lender, like myself, go through it because every situation is different when you're talking about this. So let's go through a real scenario. So this is a real buyer that we're helping out with live time in this market right now. Wants to buy an $800,000 property, putting 25% down. In today's market, a 30-year mortgage rate, right around 6.375 as I record this with 0 discount points, okay? We've got a monthly payment with taxes and insurance of around $5,300 a month and about $218K between down payment, closing costs, and prepaids and escrows all in. So they're all in as 218 grand. On the other side though, if we buy now and we get creative, and buyer B over here, they actually go and negotiate and ask for a 3% seller credit off of the sales price towards their closing costs and prepaids. And I work with a lot of real estate agents every year. The great agents are helping their buyers in this market right now, depending on the situation, to get credits to help lower rates, right? And not every seller is going to allow this, right? And I'll be very clear about this. You might line up 10 sellers and 4 out of 10 sellers are stubborn. They're not going to do credits. Maybe you're in multiple offers still. That does still exist. But there are a good amount of sellers. Again, 44% in America that are giving concessions in deals, right? And so it is possible. And so, for example, in this scenario, on the right, we're negotiating a 3% credit or $24,000 off of the sales price. We're using that to do a creative, it's called a 7-year adjustable, which means the first 7 years of the mortgage, the rate is fixed, and we're buying that rate down with the seller's money to a 4.75, and your cash to close is the same. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat that. $24,000 was negotiated. We're using that seller's money to lock in a 4.75% rate, so a rate in the 4s today in 2025 to get a lower rate, and that's fixed for the first 7 years. It is a 30-year mortgage, but after 7 years, it would become an adjustable rate, right? So usually the average American holds a mortgage for about 3 to 5 years. This may not be the product for everybody. This strategy can go on fixed rates, but this is how do you get the lowest possible rate and get creative in this market right now, okay? Let's go through the strategy here. So on the left, bottom left here, buyer A or option A, there's 0 points, but there's 0 credits negotiated. Whereas option B, we have 24K in points to get that 4.75 rate, but we negotiated a contribution of $24,000 to pay for the points, right? And when you take a step back and look at this over a 5-year period, right? So not even the full 7 years of the ARM loan, but the 5-year period, buyer B got the same property, yet buyer B saved $49,000 of interest and costs over a lump sum of a 5-year period, right? And going back to the other slide, they saved $613 a month, and their payment is more closer in that kind of a little bit above the mid-4 range versus more like the lower to mid-5 range. And that's a big palatable difference when we're talking about buying real estate. And that's the possibilities that are available right now for buyers in 2025. I wanted to keep this video very concise because everybody's situation is different. But I want you to understand what the possibilities are in 2025 as we head into 2026 before rates continue to come down. Because we've already seen rates come from 8% down to 6.3% in America just in the last 2 years. If we do see rates continue forward and we get into the 5s, we get into the 4s, the credits are going to go away. We're going to get back into that multiple offer environment. And so I'm speaking to real estate agents right now on this video, and I'm speaking to home buyers on this video right now. If you're renting or if you're thinking about buying and you're waiting for rates to come down, my suggestion is have a conversation, get a plan, because you can get the rate you want now and get the home you want now for a better price with less competition. So give us a call. Look forward to helping you out. Take care.